Hey there gardeners, Chris here from Steading. I wanted to talk about the wild iris because it's actually an awesome plant, but it is a bit of a problem. And I'd personally say from our experience with it, because it's all over our property, it is so good that I'm actually having to take some out, as you can probably see here. Now, the strength of this plant is it's really, really hardy. The unfortunate part is that it actually can spread a little bit too freely, which can become a problem. Now, for a lot of us, particularly here in Australia, this plant is probably something you've seen so frequently you would assume that it is a native. It's not. It is actually from South Africa, and in some parts of Australia it's considered a weed. I've even seen the complaint that councils plant it because it's obviously such a good performer, but the downside to that is it can outcompete our actual native plants. Now, these aren't to be confused with native iris, which is an actual Australian iris. It has a blue flower, it's a bit more dainty, so there is a noticeable difference between the two. But I've heard people mentioning alternatives for this, and one of the big problems is that they're not going to do the job this plant does. So maybe for some people it might even be banned as a weed in your area, but for other people, for the right use, it might be quite a good plant. But I'll explain to you kind of a bit more about this particular iris and what we've done here. And so what is this wild iris? Well, it's basically a grass, as you can see here. It's a very, very hardy grass. It can survive in pretty drought-ridden conditions, apparently. We're not too bad, but we're not great. And it apparently is a little bit frost resistant as well. And certainly it grows right down into Sydney very, very successfully, maybe too successfully. It has quite a unique kind of design here as to how it creates this like frond of grass, but they're generally speaking quite thin at this angle, and then they expand out like this, and that's what makes them easy to pull out, because while you're not going to be able to pull out a huge clump of them, what you start doing is you start pulling out one of these at a time or two of these at a time, and it'll all come out, and then you might just need to dig out that rhizome. And yeah, it has these big stems on it, which at the right time of year have a nice beautiful flower, a nice iris flower on it, and then at the wrong time of the year they have a big seed pod, which when green, very, very noticeable. When brown, that's the danger period where it's going to spread, but you can chop them off pretty easily. It wouldn't take that long, even with as many as we've got here, because they're quite established here. Yeah, so a nice hardy plant, perhaps not for everyone, but it's an interesting option. So the iris itself, the wild iris, is a real spreader, and it spreads via seeds from these seed pods, which appear after the flowers. And first they're a green seed pod, which is when you'd probably want to remove them, or what we should have done. I didn't even think about it. But then they have these seed pods which drop seeds, and obviously these can spread quite significantly, and we've got them popping up everywhere here. They're very easy to remove at this stage, and even when they're a little bit more established, what you will find is you can actually pull them out quite easily, because while those big tufts are very, very difficult to get out all at once, what you want to do is you want to grab one of these fronds like this and pull that out. Now this one doesn't have any roots on it. However, if we look at one like this, that's got roots on it. And so you could actually split these up and move them and get them more established in different parts of the garden. And they've been used by the previous owner here quite effectively. They are a border plant, and for that, they're pretty much perfect. Obviously, the best use case I would say for these is somewhere where they're kind of growing between a rock and a hard place, so where their opportunity to spread is quite limited. And here, that is somewhat true. This is a driveway. This pebbled area is actually a drainage area, so that because the driveway does get quite wet, it takes a while to drain, and so this kind of floods, not enormously, but it fills with water in heavy rain, and these are capable of dealing with that short term. They're an awesome border at the end of the day. They're nice and thick. They provide a bit of a habitat for creatures, so the frogs love them in spring and summer when it's a bit warmer. It's getting a bit cool for them now, so that is a bit of an issue. Also, I think our native rats like them for cover. That's a bit of a double-edged sword. I'd rather they not have the cover and the owls get them, but there you go. We've got a bandicoot which uses them for cover as well. So again, while people are going to say, oh, they're a weed and it's terrible, these actually do support an ecosystem quite well. But I would say these are quite a good kind of rewilding plant. Obviously not a native, but they have the capability to, yeah, get something green growing and build up a little bit of an ecosystem where things are really tough. And certainly even under gum trees, which a lot of stuff struggles with. We've removed quite a lot of these. So this is one side of the driveway. Where I was before was the other side of the driveway. We've kind of reclaimed a good, maybe even a metre here where they'd been growing out. They were very dense here, and they're a little less dense out here where those smaller little growths were. This is a little bit of a snake warren over here. This is where we've seen some red-bellied black snakes, so I am being a little bit careful. It's a bit cooler now, so hopefully they're not going to pop their heads out. And there's a couple of spots through here where we can see that something's been moving, whether it's a snake or a mouse or something like that, who knows. But they do, again, provide that really good kind of cover for native animals, which is important. And, you know, we can complain about weeds and stuff like that all we want, but sometimes you've got to look at the bigger picture and go, well, you also want cover, or you want an environment for the native animals to live. And this is probably pretty good, because even introduced predators, which can be a real problem, like cats and dogs, foxes and things like that, they're going to have a bit of a struggle getting through something like this, where smaller creatures can hide in it quite well. What I wanted to talk about though was that all of the gum trees and the branches and stuff fall into this, and you end up getting a layer. Now this can be a little bit dirty looking, it can be not the most nice looking thing in your garden. However, what it does is it captures moisture and kind of creates like almost a compost in the plant itself, and under that is really good moisture. And so the reason that is good is because what you get is you basically get a moisture capturing situation, which helps these grow, but also obviously helps with a bit of ground moisture as well. So again, that's probably why the frogs like them, because it captures that moisture, because it's pretty dry here a lot of the time, but these can still be very, very effective. So yeah, a pretty cool plant, if one that does have the potential to spread a bit indiscriminately. So these have these beautiful white flowers on them when they're in flower, and I think what I'll be doing from now on, because I'm really noticing these seed pods this year, is when they finish flowering, just come out and chop off all of those seed pods when they're green. So when they dry like this and they start to drop their seeds, this is when you're going to get them spreading. And so obviously here, it's not great, but we can keep them under control because they're either surrounded by driveway or grass on all sides, and we'll just cut them back and we can pull out the little seedlings. These seeds obviously grow pretty easily as well, which is why we've got all these small ones popping up everywhere. And so that's something to keep an eye out for. And they have, I think they call it a rhizome, or basically like a tuber or a root that can get quite established. And if you don't get that out, they will just pop back up. And so that's what you also need to keep an eye on. So they're in some ways easy to pull out, but maybe you're not getting the root, the tuber, and they'll come back much more easily if that's the case. Chop off those seed heads and that will help prevent them from spreading. But a big advantage with these is they're really good at stopping erosion. So if you have really bad erosion problems, maybe these are a bit of a solution, a short-term solution, to stop such a significant amount of erosion. Again, keeping in mind that you need to figure out whether they're too much of a weed to be worth trying. But for that, could be very, very useful. So I do have these growing quite successfully as a barrier here behind me, and again, kind of a perfect application. They don't seem to grow quite as voraciously into the grassed area here, which is what we don't want, and we can pull them out quite easily to keep them under control. It's a driveway behind them, and they are on both sides of that driveway. And to be honest, in our pretty harsh conditions, the grass does actually tend to outcompete them. Not enough to kill them off or smother them, but it keeps them under control. And what I probably need to do is go through and drag all of that grass out to give this a little bit better chance, because it is a good barrier. We have, in heavy rain, quite a lot of water that can come down the driveway, and this kind of helps slow it down as it's coming down this way, as it's coming down the hill, rather than running down and around the driveway. And then it does, I guess, work as a bit of a filter for this garden here, which may not be the best thing. It might actually mean that the garden's not getting as much water as it could be. But as a barrier, it's a pretty good option. And when the flowers come out, it's beautiful as well. So obviously, one of the big things is you always need to figure out whether something is the solution for you. I think there's a lot of people who obviously just go, nah, it's not Australian, it's a weed, absolutely not. And I mean, if you're in a state where it is considered a problematic weed, probably not a good idea to introduce it, that's fair enough. But I think in an area where you can control it and you don't have a lot of choices and you're really struggling to get something to survive, it's maybe a good choice. And again, you need to be responsible, but it grows pretty darn well, which is sometimes just what we want and what we need.